Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit of putting instruction or help for you. And I think when we're talking about putting, obviously there's green reading plays a huge factor. But the things that we need to really work on, the three key areas of putting would be your start line, your speed, and then your read. So they're really key factors. Now today we're going to have a quick chat about that first thing, the start line. And I see people out there practicing their putting all the time. They're hitting a lot of putts, but they're not doing it with any purpose. Just hitting putt after putt after putt. And they don't really know if they're starting the ball where they're aiming it. That aim and then start line, they work together, but they don't really know what's happening. So I've got a little great way for you to practice to know whether you're starting the ball on line. Okay, so here I've set up a little, I've set up my laser, and my laser goes straight through the hole and through a tiny little gate here. This gate's only 50 mil wide, so it's barely bigger than a ball. So if I grab a ball there, this is a pretty hard gate, but I grab a ball there, it's barely bigger than the golf ball, right? Not much room at all there to get through. So I like to practice hard. There's no point in practicing something that's easy. But with this laser set up and the gate probably a foot, or if you game a little bit further out in front, this is a little bit further. This really helps me do a couple of things. Obviously my aim is pretty easy to then aim my putter with that green line. But I know that if I'm doing well, and I know that if I'm starting the ball where I'm aiming it, it'll go through those gates, right? And that one there hit the left bumper first, you would have seen. So I'll go through the same process. I'll aim correctly, and then I've hit the right bumper. Somewhat of a compensation, no doubt. Probably another reason why I don't use a regular length putter, but I'm certainly, I love the challenge. I love to work on things, right? This putt here is about 6 foot. That's a left bumper. This is really, shows just exactly how good you are at starting your putter on line, right? That one I get through. It just says to me that the face was where I started. If I started it well and I hit the putt well, that's all this is doing. Little 50 mil gate. Now if you don't have a gate, that's cool. Now I'm starting to get it, right? I'm starting to build some confidence here. Still got to go through my process and aim, get the aiming perfect. Roll the ball nicely in. If you don't have a gate, you don't have to have a gate or a laser, but what you should do without these things, I'll show you there's pretty easy alternatives. So if I got rid of that laser, what I would then do is I would try and aim a ball like such, check my aim there, put the red line down, and instead of having a gate here, you could just put a couple of tees in the ground. It takes a little longer to set up, but if I put my ball down there with the red line aimed between that gate, or tees, or however you want to set it up, I hit my putt, and you see it rolls end over end, and I got it through that gate. Now it's harder to set everything up square. The ball mightn't have been set up quite with the hole, but obviously then I just flick my laser back on, get the ball in the middle, and you don't have to hit putts into the hole. I mean, you don't have to hit them into a hole. Obviously that's a nice little thing to do, but this tells me exactly what's happening. See, that just caught the left bumper. If I then grab out my arm lock, I like to practice with a short putter as well as a long putter. But if I grab my arm lock, I then know, that one's right bumper. So, I consider myself a pretty decent putter, to be fair. And yet this is quite a challenge at a foot and a half here. If I got it into So there you have it. You can see it's not easy, but you know, if we're going to get better at something, don't make challenges easy. You know, make them nice and hard. So you've got to work hard to get better at it. And one of my key factors when I know I'm putting well is when I start my ball on the intended line. So this is the greatest way to do it. 50 mil, I mean, if you want to start at 55 or 60, whatever you want to do, but start at 50 mil and only about a foot out and see if you can just roll the ball through there. Doesn't have to go towards a hole or anything like that. It's just going to tell you, yes, I've aimed my putter and started that ball in line. One of those key factors for better putting.